We're in the Rikka stage, you know. Rikka has won so many events in the last few years. How can you argue with somebody rocking up with Rikka?
And that's a great start with the Ariana, of course.
You know, somehow Rikka reminds me of Burning Abyss in the sense that, you know, during the years he kept winning and winning, and it was always there, you know. I always has that feeling that if you know how to pilot the deck, no matter what, you can go, you know, very, very deep into the tournament.
Yeah, it's a super deck, and it's super complicated, so I think maybe people might write it off if, you know, they don't fully understand its power. Maybe they haven't played against people who know exactly what they're doing with the deck, so you might think, oh, you know, just a couple of traps, hand traps here and there, and I can deal with it. But players who have practiced a lot with the deck can push through those.
And we're seeing a great start here with the Arias, which will allow LN to just immediately activate the drop card, which I think was the big welcome set from end. So really powerful start, and he's on, as you mentioned, a little bit of different technology with 3 copies of both the Chandelier and the Stovey, so really focusing on consistency here.
Yeah, it's a little more sort of combo heavy, isn't it? Because he's included that Shavara, so it makes me feel like he wants to get a couple of monsters on the field on the first turn, which isn't the necessarily traditional way of playing Labrynth, right? Normally people think of it more as a trap deck, but if you want to link summon on your first turn, that means you're going to try and summon a few more monsters, and that's what's going on here. So he's used the Arias to be able to resolve the big welcome. He's going to get to destroy a card in his opponent's hand. Get to see what's going on with Felix and his 60-card deck. It's a big pile he's got there.
And yeah, I think he might have not used the welcome effect, but yeah.
No, I think he's used, a bit of everything. So welcome,
yeah, he could have said it
Stovey.
because I think he discarded it with the Stovey, but like I think he
no, I think he
even
pointed
if you drop it,
to it. I don't know if maybe it'll come out in a second.
Let's see what is going to be sniped. Okay, not information here, but what do you think if you get rid of that Clurer? Do you have any clue what you're up against? I guess,
I feel like it could go in almost anything.
Yeah.
One thing, a trend I see in a lot of 60-card decks is to run... Oh, I think you're right, he may have missed the welcome. Is to run 3 copies of Thrust and then a variety of targets for that Thrust, and one of those is almost always Dark Ruler no more, so maybe Alan knows this and sort of can't read too much into it.
Yeah. And this is where the interesting part goes. Okay, no, he doesn't go for a bit of a combo, and yeah, solid start, I guess.
So yeah, you're right. I think he just missed the...
No, yeah, because I think he might not even be able to set it, even though it was not activated the same turn. I think even if you discard it, you still can't set it the same turn.
You can't set it the turn it's sent to the graveyard, right? Yeah.
So yeah, makes sense. Let's see. Now Felix will have to reveal that he is indeed on the Rikka deck.
I'm feeling a little bit worried for Alan already. I don't feel like he's set up quite enough interruptions to, you know, we know how persistent the Rikka deck is. He's taken 1 card out of Felix's hand. Felix has still got 5 more. And Alan has got the welcome, or the big welcome, to deal with 1 card. And he's got a couple of pops. So will that be enough?
Pass?
Did he pass, really?
I mean...
He has Trust,
I think he either enter battle phase, maybe as a bait, which could make sense, because, I mean, you just reveal a Dark Ruler, so your opponent might assume you're also unevenly on such a deck, but I'm pretty sure he either enter battle phase or just straight up, you know, attempted to leave the main phase, I guess.
But, like, why would you need... You don't have any effects. Alan doesn't have any effects that need to be used in the main phase. So, like, that works. Your opponent has, like, an IP, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like... I mean, maybe this is a clever bait from Felix there, because as you said, we see the talents, we see the thrust.
Exactly.
And Alan's going to activate it. So either this is the main phase or it's the battle phase. Sorry, the end phase.
Okay. The one of Impermanence being activated from Felix. I mean, he might have passed, honestly, because I don't think his end looks very good, but...
Let's see. We get back the areas. And now we are figuring out whether he can use these talents. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Then I'm pretty sure he attempted to enter battle phase, and LN responded like that.
Wow, what a very nice bluff from Felix there.
So I think his end was actually almost done. If LN said, sure, let's go to the end phase.
And Thrust will get you to the full engine, and Alan's used, like,
Yeah.
All interruptions here almost, right? Unless he's got something else in his hand, like the Lovely has been used. That trap is a welcome Labrynth now that has been set this turn. So maybe he has the Kuklok in hand so he can activate the...
Yeah, I guess the areas, if he has something, probably not, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe a Kuklok got added to the hand via the big welcome, and that will allow the field spell to destroy one card. So he's going to be able to destroy one card, but that doesn't feel like that's enough, does it?
Hardly, but he also has the talent, right? So let's see, because on the other hand, Felix can also try and draw more cards or take control. So it's going to be a close one. Definitely well played, recognizing that he needed his opponent to, you know, fall into his bluff. And yeah, we do see probably even 2 copies of talent. So yeah, without the bluff, this was over.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing to remember when you don't have the evenly matched. This is something you can do. It's
yeah. And I mean, this was all, I think, also due to the Dark Ruler reveal again. Like, if you see Dark Ruler, you can assume your opponent is on those type of cards, and yeah. No response. Is the last card in hand more charmy? It could be. I don't know. Seems a little bit of interesting.
I don't think it can be. Surely he would have activated it. Oh no, you can't activate it actually.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Because you can't respond to a normal trap with monster effects if the Lovely is in play. So he couldn't have actually chained it to anything.
And yeah, as you recognize, Tom, now he gets to destroy one with the Labrynth, a card that we haven't seen in a while. It was usually played when Labrynth was really popular as a, you know, a mirror match option, but Alain is back on it, and it makes sense with such a heavy Labrynth count. So
yeah, I was thinking that when you have so many furniture pieces, you might end up needing to have extra targets for them after you've maybe burned through all of the traps in your deck, or just have a little bit of variety if you've already got access to both of your traps.
And yeah, this is gonna be crucial. We still have not normal summon, so another Loshi would be insane. Okay, come on, Sal. I think it was 3 monsters, but yeah, I'm not sure.
What kind of monsters are there? I'm pretty sure like anything.
Yeah, one is a
is it the Ethereum
Borea?
Yeah, Ethereum card.
Oh, we see the Rikka package.
The Apple Seed.
I'm pretty sure this is just like a kind of full starter for the deck, and it will get you everything you need to do all by itself, but...
Yeah, it basically is adding 2 different Ragnarok cards from his deck to the hand.
And then you have to banish one.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the ones you add can banish... can return one from banished in order to special summon itself. So I feel like this gets you to your whole combo.
Absolutely. And as you can see, resolves the effect. Now he's plant locked, which is something we should keep in mind, but I mean, it shouldn't be much of an issue.
Is he plant? Is it like...
It's like plant, like 3 insects types. And reptile, yeah.
I mean, the Ragnarekas are different types, yeah. But I think later he might end up locking himself into plants anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly...
He's going to slowly restrict himself until he can't summon any monsters.
And he's explaining the cards to Ellen. Makes sense.
Okay, and here he goes for the skeletal, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, skeletal soldier coming down. I'm gonna bring it up for you guys on screen. He can, link climb, because he can summon one back from the graveyard.
Wow, so yeah, more than just link climb, right? Because we've got the Sunseed Genus Loci in the graveyard there.
Yeah, with the effect you can special summon only the Ragnarika, but then it allows you to even keep on going, because when it's in the graveyard you can special summon it back, so it's kind of like as if it represents 4 monsters by itself. But
I like, honestly, the Ragnarok addition to the deck, which I think this is the first time we see on screen, because, you know, it's like it gives the deck another speed, right? Because, you know, this was what Felix was hoping for, and here again I think he will try his chances. Yeah, a little bit of explanation here, because Alain may not be super familiar with it, but
I'm just checking it out. Something's brought the Locust back. Do you think it's the Bloom or the Soldier?
Ooh, but are we seeing it just an Ibiru from Alain?
wow, okay.
Which actually is quite detrimental to himself.
It's quite destructive to his own field, yeah. What's But he's got a couple of cards in his hand, right? He must have added something.
Yeah, and I mean, you can still use the Stovey, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's the old combo, isn't it? This way you avoid giving your opponent a token. I do love this combo.
Yeah.
It is quite fun.
It's pretty fun.
So for those of you at home, in Nibiru, you activate it in your hand, and what it does, obviously, is tribute the whole field and then summon itself. But if you, in response to its own effect, discard it, for example, with one of your Labrynth monsters, then it resolves as much as it can, which is to tribute the whole field. But you cannot actually special summon it when it's no longer in your hand. And in addition to that, so it doesn't come onto the field, and your opponent also doesn't get a token, which can be very, very important sometimes. A lot of decks, when they get hit with a Nibiru, one of their plans for like carrying on often involves having the token, or the Snake Eye deck involves your opponent summoning a monster, and then you can summon one with your field spell. So not summoning the Nibiru and the token makes it even more devastating a lot of the time.
Which I think would have been huge, but the Borotea hits here, and I think maybe Alain was hoping that Felix was passing, I guess.
Yeah, he keeps coming up with more and more interruptions, Alain, but maybe this won't be enough.
Yeah, we can now search for a spell and trap.
Often this Colosseum field spell.
Yeah, makes sense.
Then add Regulus, but I think he's, as you mentioned, can't summon a Regulus this turn because it is a machine. Also needs a way to maybe get a couple more plant monsters into play.
I'm pretty sure there was like a second copy of a talent in hand, so that's not gonna help right now. And one last card, which is a monster. But probably a Rikka. I can't quite tell which one it is.
Oh, can he just summon back the Soldier? How does that work? He's had a little look at it.
Yeah, because like you can target one plant, and basically you can special summon it back by putting that on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
What was the last card in hand?
Oh, it's a Mudan, so that's really important now.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Get the Concon can get more Rikka spells and traps. I'm trying to remember the name of the one that searches too.
Glamour, maybe? Yeah.
Is it Glamour? I'm thinking of Sheet and Glamour, but I can't remember which one
no,
is.
Glamour. Sheet is the trap card.
Sheet is the trap, yeah.
So yeah, this is great. And now, I mean, he has knowledge, because he knows the last card in hand is the Cooklock. So looks rough for Alain. He's tried his best with what he had, and seems just like the Rikka deck has more gas in the tank.
Yeah, I mean, Rikka's like a really powerful combo deck, and normally, I guess, you don't associate those with being super strong going second. Often you think they're at their best going first, but Felix showing here that the deck is more than capable, pushing through a number of interruptions. I mean, Alan pulled 2 cards out of his hand, courtesy of the lovely Labrynth, and then there was a Nibiru, and then there was a pop. So he's, you know, gone through sort of 4 distinct interruptions here, and looking none the worse for it.
I also think it made sense from Alain's point of view to activate the Nibiru, right? Because, you know, you just want to stop your opponent, but, you know, maybe that's what you were saying before, Tom, right? Maybe sometimes you just have to understand where is the best spot to activate your hand traps against plants.
Yeah, I mean, amazingly, if Alan had just not taken the bait, maybe he'd have just gone all the way to his end phase, but maybe Felix had more in his hand anyway. I mean, an excellent bluff. How can we say? I mean, how many players would have just looked at their hand and gone, oh, I can't do anything, guess I'll just pass.
Absolutely.
So we see an Aromage Link allowing you to activate Humid Winds from your deck. Very powerful card, Humid Winds. You can pay to add more Aromages from your deck to your hand, and then you can also just gain a couple of life points, which doesn't sound that useful, but when you have an Aromage Jasmine in play from the extra deck, that will let you search even more plant monsters, and that effect is not, as we sometimes say, a hard once per turn. So if you have a couple of those on the field, you can search a number of cards. It does start to get a little bit silly after a while.
Yeah, and this is all possible also because Felix is playing 60 cards, by the way, so he can afford to play all of these one-offs, which maybe you don't necessarily want to draw, but you know, it's definitely less likely to open them up in 60, and still have a lot of different ways to access your combo. So can work. We've seen also Jessica have some success with the 60 card build. So.
Yeah, she showed me this deck in a sort of combo video like the ones we do here at the UK National Championships, and she went through an absolutely like massive combo, which started with just, you know, like one Ragnarika monster. And you ended up with like everything, and you'd used half your deck, and you resolved the Jasmine like 5 times courtesy of the Human Wind or something. It was insane. So I wonder if we're going to see something similar from Felix here. I guess Rikka, one of those decks, you can never write it off, you know, event after event, coming back. Would you have turned up with it, Alberto?
Not the
I think he would have played the Labrynth.
Totally. No, totally.
It's
but
more
I think
your speed.
Yeah, no, but I agree with you, Tom. I think this is one of the most difficult deck to play in general. Like, I think you don't really want to miss your chances when coming off, and I think I always found this deck, like over the last few years, I think the one of the most, you know, I think if not the most difficult deck to play against, because even if you have like 2 to 3 hand traps, you really have to know where to activate them, because, you know, I think Alain tried his best to navigate through Felix's hands. At the end of the day, I mean, we are just witnessing what Rikka does at its best. I think the deck is very consistent, and over the years, I mean, we have seen that it's super competitive, and I think something that will never change is how to face this deck for our players, because I agree with you. I think this has always been, I don't want to say under the radar, because it won events, it topped a lot of events in Europe, but I think it still needs to be, you know, valued as one of the best decks of the format, because I think he has their chances every time, and I think the few times we saw on the very first rounds on stream, then he ended up, if not winning the event, going very deep into it. But I can see you playing this, honestly. Yeah?
You can see it for me. I can see it. I'm looking at it. Yeah. I mean, I never really went in for like 60 card decks so much. I love the more streamlined version, but there is something to be said, as Marcella mentioned, like if you're playing a lot of one-offs that you don't necessarily want to draw, you can instead sort of bury those deeper in the deck by running more cards in your deck. Yeah. That way you can sort of increase the density of good cards that you want to draw while keeping fewer engine requirements. And I guess this makes the deck a bit more multi-layered. When it's sort of streamlined, you trim it down to 40, maybe you have those core combo elements, and maybe players now know, what do I do against those cards? What do I do against a Concon or a Ricochet? Or, you know, maybe I know the combo where you start with the Sunset Genius Loci, and I know how to interrupt that. But now you've got all these Ragnarika monsters, you've got the Aromages, and your opponent's going to think, well, okay, hey, wait a second, I learned all of the Rikka cards, I knew what was going on before, and now you're going to show me a bunch more cards. I need to know how to interrupt those.
Yeah, this is crazy. Look at this.
Yeah. So you saw Felix smile like as he got the Sunseed Loci to the 3rd time, and is now uninterrupted, hit the field, and yeah, you got to think that's going to...
But it's always like that, honestly. I mean, how impressive is that from, you know, our plant players? And I think Felix is showcasing us how powerful the deck still is. And I mean, honestly, I'm impressed, because, you know, entering in a YCS like this, the first YCS of the season, you show up with a Rikka deck, and I mean, in general, I'm a big fan of 60 card deck, because you can play a lot of varieties, and yeah, as you previously mentioned, you can also, you know, can play some one-offs. You basically put your combo through. But yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, look at this. I think he has been doing this for the last, what, 12 minutes or something?
Yeah. And I think if we look at the clock, actually 20 minutes have passed, and if you're Alain, I think you might even start considering picking up your cars. Just because I'm thinking this game is not looking good, and if we assume that maybe game 2 you can try and win going first, then you really don't want to start a game 3 with a few minutes on the clock against Rikka. So maybe it would be wise to start considering that as well. We are getting into the dangerous, you know, time zone with not picking up your cars here.
Yeah, I mean, Rikka's one of the most difficult decks to play against when the clock runs down, isn't it? Because they're very good at gaining life points, and their turns take quite a long time.
Exactly.
So that's
just
a very dangerous combination.
Yeah. So.
But maybe Alan just wants to get the chance to see as many of the cards as possible, have a read, get familiar before going into the later games. That's all I can think of. Or maybe he's not sure exactly where this is going to end up. I mean, I guess none of us are except for Felix, so...
It seems like we might be towards the end of this combo. Still a few interruptions, but... Let's take a look. Felix already made it to the top 16 actually of the German national championship this year. So I'm not sure if he played Rikka there, but
I mean, surely.
Might be.
Rikka took it home there as well, didn't it? The German national championships.
I mean, that weekend was really strong for Rikka, you know, both at yours in the UK and at Germany, yeah.
So here we see, I think this is an Aromage spell that can let you fusion by banishing monsters from your graveyard, which is quite a powerful effect. Give you some extra sort of layers of interruptions. Do you think he's got any way to tribute off this Strenna that's on the field? He's already gone through Mudan. He's got a droplet in his hand. I don't think that tributes anything. No. Just sends. No unlocked synergies.
And yeah, it's just showing a translation for the Magnolia.
Oh God, had he not even activated the Concon yet after all this time? Okay. I thought he had.
Yeah.
I thought he'd gone through it, but no,
insane.
He kept it in his hand. So yeah, he'll be able to get the Glamour now, and that will tribute the Strenna and add even more. Or is that a sheet, maybe?
Yeah, this is crazy. The Magnolia is so strong. First of all, it protects you from disruption. And then by paying 2,000 life points, you can banish cards up to the number of human wins. So, I mean, that helps. Can get rid of one of the cards from Alain.
I mean, being protected from destruction is nothing to sniff at against the Labrynth deck as well, because a decent way they use is the Lovely to out cards. I mean, a lot of other decks maybe can deal with monsters that don't require destroying them, but...
It's also... I was thinking, obviously, back to what we mentioned with the bluff. Because if that's the case, we still have a battle phase.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. If that was... And so, you know, the Magnolia has another sneaky effect, which it boosts all of your plant monsters. So, if he has enough, he might even... just close this duel out. Well, no, it doesn't seem like that's the case. One more turn. So, wow. 24 minutes down the line, and Felix pretty much got rid of everything that Alain set up. Who is just left with a cool clock and another card in hand.
So, right, he's setting cards, so it doesn't look like he's about to attack, but I'm a bit confused then how the battle phase interaction kind of played out. Why would... Maybe it was like enter main and then go end of battle phase.
Yeah, and maybe Alain was like during the battle phase.
He did it at the end of, before the end of the battle phase.
Wow. And yeah, there was still the interruption, as you can see, which is what you were asking, Tom.
There was some way to tribute it. But what was activated? Because there was the princess there being used to tribute the Strenna, but like what was activated that made the princess?
It's the cool clock, but like how? Like because like the other card in hand was an Ariana, right? So
yeah, it looked like he kind of showed the Ariana, but the Ariana somehow made its way into the graveyard, which doesn't seem like something Princess does. It just negates effects, right? Doesn't destroy them.
Unless this whole time it was a Chandelier instead of the Cook Lock, but I'm pretty sure he searched the Cook Lock, so...
Oh yeah, maybe it was a Chandelier, because he used Cook Lock last turn, so maybe the Cook Lock made
no, it was the Chandelier, yeah, makes sense. So he tried to use the Chandelier probably in the end phase and was met by the Princess, which made this just instantly worse, because as you mentioned, he gave away to tribute off the Strena and then still negate it. So
Princess is one of those like sneakiest.
Yeah.
It's like an interruption that just sits like buried in your opponent's graveyard. And they're Rikka players, they always remember it because, you know, it's their deck. And whereas when you're playing against it, you're like, wait.
Let's take a look at the end from Alain.
Wow.
Oh, all right, we see the Mulcharmy coming down, which could actually do nothing.
I was thinking that. I was like, is that fantastic? But again, it's one of those times, depending on how your side deck is constructed, you might just not have enough cards to take out. So you just think, I guess I don't necessarily want this in my deck, but I can't take it out because there are other cards I'd like to take out instead, or I don't have anything better in my side deck.
But opening in 60 cards is definitely impressive. I can tell you that much. Oh, and we see actually the Daruma given up by Alain. That's one of the best cards against the Rikka.
Must have a pretty good hand then.
Yep.
You don't want to see your opponent discard a really good card.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't think the Mulcharmy is going to draw any card. Obviously, it was mainly good against Anarianna in the end from Alain, but doesn't seem like that's the case as if in game one. And he's probably just asking confirmation on when his opponent is going to draw. We might just see a couple face down and a pass from Alain. Yeah.
This is how you play around, you know, the Max C.
Oh, and we set a monster as well. Wow.
Okay.
The evenly is definitely something that could come into play, but we see a lot of spells from the end. Felix.
No need to bluff the evenly this time. I think he can just start playing. And wait for his opponent to activate a monster effect.
But actually, I do see another Trust and Talent in the end. So this, again, kind of an issue. Really wanting to find a way for his opponent to activate a monster effect.
Yeah, trap cards don't count. I mean, that is one of the... I mean, Thrust and Talent's such powerful cards, but you do always need that something to pair with them. And occasionally, if your opponent's just got a couple of trap cards or like an infinite impermanence, for example, sometimes that can be very frustrating because you think, oh, I just need my opponent to activate one monster effect, and then they hit you with the imperm, or they hit you with, in this case, maybe a Daruma cannon or something.
And we get the pedal. Good way to start things off. Which might even be the only combo pieces in the end.
Yeah, I get the feeling like a pedal is... It immediately locks you into plants, right? So... Is that right? When you search with the pedal?
Yeah.
So that cuts you off of using your Ragnarika to its fullest potential. Or using a Therion King Regulus, which is not ideal, but sometimes kind of needs must.
Let's see if this prompts a reaction, and it is a second copy of Daruma. Wow. Immediately used on the pedal.
Feels like a very strong reaction to a little pedal.
Yeah, but I think it might be even enough, because I see a Regulus, a Trust and a Talent, and only one more card, which I can't quite figure out. Is it the Colosseum? Yeah, so
the
this...
Colosseum. Yeah.
Wow. So the only play is actually go for the Aurea. But I don't think he can even... Can he use it from there? No, I don't think so, right? Aurea... Because like in the graveyard, he only has the Mulcharmy and Purulia. So this might be it.
Alan definitely has a Labrynth spell shot. I can't remember if he said the Welcome or the Big Welcome, but they're both equally powerful here, I think.
And I think that might be it.
Yeah.
We see a pass from Felix.
Well, let's hope it is the end phase this time and not...
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the end of the main phase. I just saw a Rivalry in his deck.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. But yeah, here we are going to see a lot of effects. As you mentioned, this should be the end phase. I would be shocked if it wasn't. And this is going to be great news and looking much better for the French player.
It's nice we get the France versus Germany, the two most represented countries.
Right away, yep. We are gonna snipe that Borea. And still in the end phase, do we also have the welcome? No, we have a trap trick. Okay. So yeah, this is a great start. And yeah, this might as well just be game next turn if he just, you know, maneuvers it.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, like, even if you don't get the end of the game on this turn, you're going to be able to use the Lovely to reset a Daruma Cannon, which is a super powerful thing to do. Very hard card to play through one copy of. When your opponent just plays it every turn, it starts to feel a bit more challenging.
And yeah. I mean, he has the Chandelier that he bounced back, so this is, I think, this is pretty much it. Because you can get both Ariana and Lady, and then use the Chandelier to get a big welcome, which in your next turn is just going to be enough, with the Lovely destroying the pedal, for example, I think. I guess the only thing he doesn't have to forget is the sneaky effect of Colosseum.
I think that just, does that just prevent your Therions from being destroyed by battle?
I'm pretty sure it was any monster, that's why it's sneaky. Yeah, it's any monster.
That is sneaky.
Yeah, any monster.
Does it just do it once? Do you have to send a Therion? I don't know, all these questions.
Let's see. Once per turn, yeah.
I mean, I think you just have the big welcome here, and then you can just pop the petal anyway if you want to. There's a lot of ways around this. I think even if the worst came to the worst and somehow Alan didn't finish the game this turn, he's going to have, like, taking more cards out of Felix's hand. He's going to have multiple Daruma Cannons set, so...
Oh, it's looking promising for Alan, honestly, yeah.
He's going to do the fun thing where you can summon the Lady in attack position from your hand using Ariana, rather than having to summon it in defense position with its own effect. Help you get an extra 3,000 damage in.
Yeah. And the great part about Stovey is that it also gives you access to Chaos Angel easily, which is, you know, a great addition to the deck just a few months ago that allows you to just completely close out some games. So
taking more cards out of Felix's hand. Probably need to just not summon more than 5 times, though.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always something to keep your eye on. Because, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect a Nibiru, but, like, Felix is running 60 cards. We already saw he had to keep in the Mulch Army, so he might have had to keep in the Nibiru.
And there it is, Chaos Angel coming down.
And this is 8,000, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, Regulus.
Maybe he needs to run like 80 cards, and then he...
Okay. Yeah, a lot of one-offs in this end, actually. Yep. Because even the Bloom, I think, is a one-off in his deck, so...
Does the Bloom kind of get you there? Does it lets you add the seed from your deck to your hand?
You can get a Ranarika monster.
Then have to discard a card.
But then you have to discard, yeah. But I mean, we saw... Oh, but he does have the cross out from the side deck. So we'll see whether he started that in if Len hits him with the Spooky. So...
I like that card. It's just the Spooky.
The Spooky.
It's very spooky near the end of the game. It's nearly Halloween.
Yeah.
Almost there.
One year we'll get a YCS on Halloween. Wow, these Regulus and Therions getting banished and discarded. Not Felix's favorite cards at the moment.
And we are not seeing the Spooky Dogwood here, it seems, from Alain, or maybe just asking whether it's an Irreverent or an effect special summon for that specific reason.
How much attack do they have, actually? They're quite small, the Rikka monsters.
Yeah. some of them.
1500, the Samurai, and
Okay.
yeah,
And zero.
1500 is more than enough. But yeah, you don't want to do it when your opponent's only played a 0 attack monster.
No. Okay, let's take a look.
Oh,
There is
it's
an
an
Arius.
Arius.
Okay.
Do you reckon Felix has got one of those in his deck for the cross out?
Oh, and the Daruma. That's a good one. Yeah. Just gonna take a read of the Samurai just in case there is a, you know, an additional effect you wanna keep in mind. And now we see the Colosseum though, and that's actually really good to get the Borea back.
So you can get the Borea, but can you do anything else?
no,
I mean, you can
Kusmani.
access any plant, right? So you can just tribute and special, maybe.
Does the what does the Borea? I thought it only searched Therion cards.
No, but you can use the other effect. Ah, no, yeah, the spell and trap. You're right.
So you can summon the Regulus. It's basically just a
that's it.
negate, right? Because
Yeah.
the Regulus, I think the Therion monsters kind of give their own effect while they're equipped. So he's kind of got a negate. Just
yeah,
a
I think
cross
that's
out
it. Wow.
And a Borea. That was a super powerful interruption from Alan. Like getting through the crossout designator as well, dealing with 2 monsters in one go, like and setting them so you can't like use them out of the graveyard or anything like that.
Yeah, that was good. And now we see the Jack back.
I love back Jack.
Normal summon.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
I loved it.
It really brings me back. I used to play in Burning Abyss.
All right.
Oof. No, I played in Palio. That
Palio was
brings me
insane.
back, yeah.
It's going to link summon maybe as Salamangreat. Almirage? Oh, no, Anima? Okay.
Anima. Well
No.
played by Felix with the zones, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. You got to remember. No, no 2 monsters summoned from the no monsters summoned from the extra deck. So Typhon, I don't know if he's running it, but he couldn't summon
Yeah.
it even if he was.
And now he's gonna use the effect. I mean, I don't think you ever negate it. So, are we not using the effect? All right.
What's happened here? Does it not use the?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he just
I think-
realized. Yeah. Oh my God. I just realized. But you know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there is a good normal trap card on top. You can
Exactly.
still get
There's
it.
always a normal trap card.
Yeah,
on
you
top.
can see Alan really disappointed with himself, but I mean, gotta keep calm and just
Come
believe
and carry
in
on.
your
You
deck.
gotta- the British way.
Yeah.
It
But he
is.
didn't go for it, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, setting a bunch of cards is powerful, but you have to be able to deal with the monsters. Otherwise, you're probably going to just flip them up next turn.
I think he has the Ice Dragon Prison, which
Could be good, but
Yeah.
I mean, there is also still the Borea impersonating this Regulus, so
It's not in person; they're friends. You know, the Regulus I think is giving the effect to Borea.
think so?
Borea is not
Okay.
taking the effect; but it's giving
sure.
it. I reckon.
It's a collaboration, yeah.
It's a collaboration. I think all the Therions they're definitely friends. I think all the Therions.
Yeah.
They hang out together in a
I mean,
Colosseum.
they're in a Colosseum. Yeah, it's
They
not
don't
the
fight. They're just friends.
Yeah, they're not the friendliest of places, but what do I know? I'm just from Rome, so yeah. Yeah. And yeah, as expected, the Ice Dragon Prison was negated. One of the best cards against the plant deck for sure, but unfortunately not quite there. I would have liked to see this Jack back. Just pray and get me another Daruma, but
Yeah, I totally agree. Is there some spell and trap removal going on here?
seems like it. But I think the welcome. And now I want to see what the card on top of the deck was.
I don't know. You're not going to see it much. Are
I
you?
think
better say it.
show me.
Show it to us.
Show us. Come on.
You're going to have to live with
No,
it.
it's not the card that didn't show.
Well, look, he went through every other card in his deck, so you should be able to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever figures it out, let me know.
Yeah, let us
DM
know
me.
in the comments.
Yeah. Stop the video and just go back.
Well, here's the thing, though.
And there is an
Marcello.
handshake.